Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Janavalabha Girivanadhari Janavalabha Janadhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivanadhari Yasodanandana Brajagana Randana Nana Brajagana Randana Yasodanandana Brajagana Randana Nana Brajagana Randana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Ravanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivadhari Janavalabha Girivadhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivadhari Janavalabha Girivadhari Yasoda Nandana Vrajagana Ranjana Nana Vrajagana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Vrajagana Ranjana Nandana Vrajagana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Bhagavacharya Satarya Such a Shishi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Gauda Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sikoshi Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Ki ISKCON Founder Srila Prabhupada Ki Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shyamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Mayapur Dham Ki Navadvip Dham Ki Jamuna Mai Ki Ganga Mai Ki Tulsi Devi Ki Bhakta Devi Ki Shishi Radha Golokananda Ki Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Gaura Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we're reading from the Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, chapter 16, the Lord's attempt to go to Vrindavan, and text 176. So he's on his way here. So 176, after thinking this, the Mahapatra immediately informed the Muslim secretary, "It's a great fortune for your governor. Let him come visit Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. However, let me make it understood that he should come here without weapons. He may bring with him 5 or 7 servants. The secretary returned to the Muslim governor and informed him of the news. Dressing himself like a Hindu, the Muslim governor then came to see Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Upon seeing Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from a distance, the Muslim governor fell to the ground and offered obeisances. Tears came from his eyes, and he was jubilant with ecstatic emotions. Arriving in that way, the Muslim governor was respectfully brought before Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his Mahapatra. The governor then stood before the Lord with folded hands, and he chanted the holy name of Krishna. The governor then submissively asked, "Why was I born in a Muslim family? This is considered a low birth. Why didn't the Supreme Providence grant me a birth in a Hindu family? If I had taken birth in a Hindu family, it would have been easy for me to remain near your lotus feet. Since my body is now useless, let me die immediately." Upon hearing the governor's submissive statement, the Mahapatra was overwhelmed with joy. He clasped the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and began to offer the Lord the following prayers. Simply by hearing your holy name, a Chandala, the lowest of men, can be purified. Now this conditioned soul has received your personal interview. It is no wonder that the Muslim governor has attained such results. Simply by seeing you, all this is possible. To say nothing of spiritual advancement of persons who see the Supreme Person face to face. Even a person born in a family of dog eaters becomes immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices if he once utters the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or chants about him, hears about his pastimes, offers him obeisances, or even remembers him. Purport. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 33, Text 6. According to this verse, it does not matter what position a person holds. One may be the lowest of the low, a Chandala or a dog eater. If he takes to chanting and hearing the holy name of the Lord, he is immediately eligible to perform Vedic sacrifices. This is especially true in the age of Kali. Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevalam. Klau nasta eva, nasate eva, gatir anyata. Chaitanya, Adilita, chapter 7, text 21. Brihan Naradiya Purana, chapter 38, text 126. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. A person born in a Brahmin family cannot perform Vedic sacrifices until he is properly purified and has attained his sacred thread. However, according to the present verse of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, quoted from Srimad Bhagavatam, it is understood that even a low-born person can immediately perform sacrifices if he sincerely chants and hears the holy name of the Lord. Sometimes envious people ask how Europeans and Americans in this Krishna conscious movement can become Brahmins and perform sacrifices. They do not know that Europeans and Americans have already been purified by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the proof. Swaropi Satya Savanaya Kalpate. One may be born in a family of dog eaters, but he can perform sacrifices simply by chanting the Mahamantra. Those who find fault in Western Vaishnavas consider this statement from Srimad Bhagavatam, and the commentary on this verse by Srila Jiva Goswami in this regard. Srila Jiva Goswami has stated that to become a Brahmin, one has to wait for purification and undergo the sacred thread ceremony. But a chanter of the holy name does not have to wait for the sacred thread ceremony. We do not allow devotees to perform sacrifices until they are properly initiated in the sacred thread ceremony. Yet according to this verse, an offenseless chanter of the holy name is already fit to perform a fire sacrifice, even though he is not doubly initiated by the sacred thread ceremony. This is the verdict by Devahuti, the mother of Lord Kapila, when he was instructing her in Sankhya philosophy. Oh my God, Timarandasha. Gananjana Shilakaya Chaksharomi Tamlina Taismai Sri Gaurave Namaha. So we can see how fortunate that everybody that comes in contact with this movement and hears the holy name and even chants it, even once they begin their process of purification, and that the value of chanting this holy name is stressed here so much. I mean, here was, you see that Prabhupada often got criticized in India about a number of things that he did, in trying to spread Krishna consciousness in the Western world. And and obviously the people who are chanting this holy name are extremely fortunate. I was listening to a Shivaram Swami. He was giving a lecture, and he talked about, like, even those first devotees who joined Prabhupada, he could have been a category that this is not really their first time. Obviously, you could say, for me, it's not possible to tell how many times I've been doing this or how many times anybody else, but he seemed to be pretty confident. But you could take somebody like Hayagriva, who was just walking down the street in New York City and meets Prabhupada, just walking down the street. I mean, what's the odds? Of course, he had been to India, and then the amount of affection that Prabhupada showered onto Hayagriva is just immeasurable. And so Prabhupada invited him to come. He told him about he had this center, 26th 2nd Avenue, and invited Hayagriva. And then the fact that Hayagriva was, in English, he knew how to, edit English, and he had that background. Actually, he graduated right here. He's probably the first Hare Krishna devotee to graduate from UNC. And so we've had others come from that university, but he would be considered the first one to graduate from that university before he went to get his master's and doctorate. Prabhupada in those early Bhagavad Gita lectures were often mentioned Hayagriva. The Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the first part 1, is a quest by Narada Muni about who is the greatest recipient of Krishna's mercy. That's part 1 of Brihad Bhagavatamrita. So Narada Muni is on this quest, and he goes and meets all these different Vaishnavas that we hear in Srimad Bhagavatam. Hanuman, Prahlad, even Lord Shiva and Brahma and the Pandavas and the Yadavas. And what he found when each one he met, and this is actually a really good lesson that when he started to praise them as being the greatest recipient, they deflected that praise immediately. And I'm not the greatest recipient. This person's the greatest recipient. When he goes sees the Pandavas, they say, "Oh no, we're not." Uddhavas, the Yadavas, they're much more have much more mercy from Krishna than we are. And so Bhaktisiddhanta, in one of his lectures I was just recently reading, he said that, as we all know, we shouldn't be fault-finding. We shouldn't find fault in anyone. But he says you shouldn't praise anyone and you shouldn't find fault in anyone. The praising thing we kind of do, we praise devotees. Maybe if we hear praise, that's the reason why is because we hear it, it affects our false ego. Yes, I'm good at this. Yes, I'm so strong. Yes, I'm so smart. Yes, I'm small. All these opulences, that it kind of has an effect on us. But if we hear praise, then we should immediately deflect it. The example is given by all these great devotees, how they react when they get praise. They immediately say, no, I'm not. They say, this person is he can lead a kirtan better. He's stronger, he's smarter. This is how we should deal with when we receive praise. I mean, you have self-esteem. Sometimes it's necessary. You see, maybe somebody needs self-esteem for different things to build confidence in things that they do. There's a little bit of that, especially in the early stages. But often we can glorify people, obviously, when they're not around. But that's very difficult, part. Finding fault, that's the easy thing to try to stop doing. That's a negative thing. But both of it binds us in this material world. The goodness and the ignorance. Both will keep us here. And so we have to avoid both the best we can. But Hayagriva, because I think I don't know if it was because of previous birth, obviously got him to that point where he immediately had this moment where he just met Prabhupada. Most people meet a devotee representing Prabhupada or a book, Bhagavat. But Hayagriva did struggle a lot, and there was some issues because he was so close to Prabhupada. There were people who were a little envious because Hayagriva didn't really practice seriously, as we would put it, the others. He had struggled with his control in his senses, we'll say. But Pushkar was just telling me this recently, not maybe within the past year. I was in Alachua. He was in Hawaii. This is 1975, and he was in Prabhupada's room, and Hayagriva shows up. Prabhupada comes in Prabhupada's room, and when Prabhupada sees him, he starts crying immediately. He gets up and he hugs Hayagriva. This is the mercy and the affection that he showers upon Hayagriva. This is not normal. This is rare. This is genuine to get that kind of mercy from such a pure devotee. So there's the connection there is something even beyond me being able to even describe, but there's something we all try to achieve. It's the mercy of the Vaishnavas. And obviously Prabhupada, book distribution, translating books were so important, and Hayagriva was such an integral part early on with helping with that Prabhupada was so appreciative. Even when everybody went out and distributed books, everything about books distribution, Prabhupada was extremely helpful. Showered his mercy on the devotees for that, for helping him, that he felt that was his service to his spiritual master. And obviously so many devotees participated in helping Prabhupada with that service. Okay, let's go to 187. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then glanced with mercy at the Muslim governor, giving him assurance. He asked him to chant the holy names Krishna and Hari. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, that he advises everyone, even Chandalas, Mlechas, and Yavadas, to chant the holy name of the Lord. In other words, one who has taken to chanting the holy names Krishna and Hari has already received Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. The Lord's request to chant the holy name of Krishna is now extended to everyone in the world through the Krishna consciousness movement. Whoever follows Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions will certainly be purified. And one who sincerely chants the holy name offenselessly is already more than a Brahmin. Unfortunately, there are many fools and rascals in India who do not allow Western Vaishnavas to enter temples. Such rascals do not clearly understand the Vedas. As stated previously, Yan Namadeha Shravananu Kirtanad Svananya Kalpate. Text 188. The Muslim governor then said, "Since you have so kindly accepted me, please give me some order so that I can render you some service." Purport. If one is purified by following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's orders, that is, by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one must certainly be eager to render service to him. This is the test. When one engages enthusiastically in the Lord's service, it is to be understood that he is reaping the results of chanting the names of Krishna and Hari. The Muslim governor then prayed for liberation from the unlimited sinful reactions he had previously incurred by being envious of the Brahmins and the Vaishnavas and killing cows. Purport. By chanting the holy names of Krishna and Hari, one is certainly liberated from the reactions to such sinful activities as killing cows or insulting Brahmins and Vaishnavas. It is most sinful to kill cows and insult Brahmins and Vaishnavas. The karma incurred by such activity is very great, but one can immediately nullify all his karma by surrendering to Lord Krishna and chanting his holy name. After being released from one's sinful reactions, karma, one becomes eager to serve the Lord. This is the test. Since the Muslim governor was immediately purified by the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he could utter the names of Krishna and Hari. Consequently, he was eager to render some service, and the Lord, eager to fulfill his desires, immediately had the devotee Mukunda inform the governor that there was some service to render. Text 190. Mukunda Dat then told the Muslim governor, "My dear sir, please hear. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wishes to go to the bank of the Ganges. Please give him all assistance so that he can go there. This is your first great order, and if you can comply, you will render a great service." After this, the Muslim governor offered prayers to the lotus feet of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as well as to the lotus feet of all the devotees. After that, the governor departed. Indeed, he was very pleased. Before the governor left, the Mahapatra embraced him and offered him many gifts. He thus established a friendship with him. The next morning, the governor sent his secretary with many nicely decorated boats to bring Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the other side of the river. The Mahapatra crossed the river with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when they reached the other side, the Muslim governor personally received the Lord and worshipped his lotus feet. One of the boats had been newly constructed, and it had a room in the middle. It was on this boat that they put Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. Finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to the Mahapatra standing on the riverbank. And looking at the boat, the Mahapatra began to cry. The Muslim governor then personally accompanied Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Because of pirates, the governor took 10 boats full of many soldiers. The Muslim governor accompanied Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu past Mantreswara. The place was very dangerous due to pirates. He took the Lord to a place named Pichalad, which was near Matresvara. Purport. A very wide mouth of the Ganges, near present-day Diamond Harbor, was called Matresvara. Through the Ganges, the boat entered Rupa Narayan River and reached the village of Pichalda. Pichalda and Matresvara were located very close together. After passing Matresvara, the Muslim governor accompanied the Lord as far as Pichala. Finally, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade the governor farewell. The intense, ecstatic love exhibited by the governor cannot be described. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to the Muslim governor at Pichalda. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami herein states that the governor experienced symptoms of ecstatic love due to being separated from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These symptoms, he admits, cannot be described. 201. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes are all uncommon. Whoever listens to his activities becomes glorious, and his life becomes perfect. The Lord finally reached Panihati, and as an act of mercy, he gave the captain of the boat one of his personal garments. The place called Panihati was located on the bank of the Ganges. After hearing that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had arrived, all kinds of men assembled, both on the land and on the water. The village of Purport, the village of Panihati, is situated on the bank of the Ganges near Kandahar. 204. At length, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taken away by Raghava Pandit. There was a great crowd assembled along the way, and the Lord reached Raghava Pandit's residence with great difficulty. The Lord stayed at Raghava Pandit's place for only one day. The next morning, he went to Kormahat, where Srivas Thakur lived. The present name of Kormahata is Halishhara. After Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, Srivas Thakur left Navadvip due to separation from him and went to Halisahara to live. From Kormahat, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Kanchanapali, also known as Kanchadapada. There Shivananda Sain lived. After staying 2 days at Shivananda's house, the Lord went to the house of Vasudev Dutt. From there, he went to the western side of Navadvip, to the village called Vijayanarga. From Vijayanarga, he went to Kuliagram and stayed at Madhavadasa's house. He stayed there for 1 week and excused the offenses of Devananda and others. Due to Kaviraj Goswami's mentioning the name of Santipur Acharya, some think that Kulia is a village near Kanchadapad. Due to this mistaken idea, they invented another place known as New Kuliapata. Actually, such a place does not exist. Leaving the house of Vasudev Dutt, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the house of Advaita Acharya. From there, he went to the western side of Navadvip to Vijayanarga and stayed at the house of Vidya Vakaspati. These accounts are given in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Chaitanya Mangala, Chaitanya Chandrodya Nataka, and Chaitanya Charita Kavya. Srila Kaviraj Goswami has not vividly described the entire tour. Therefore, on the basis of Chaitanya Charitamrita, some unscrupulous people have invented a place called Kuliapatra near Chandradapad. These books here that are mentioned are available to read. Vanaswami has translated these books. One of them is by Kavi Kanapur, Mukunda Dutt. All these devotees, they wrote, not extensively like we have Chaitanya Charitamrita, but they wrote about their experiences with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Just like we see, we have a lot of books, different devotees write about Srila Prabhupada. There's a pretty big volume and somewhat growing. I'd still like to hear from some devotees, that had extensive association. Rameshwar is probably working on a book, I hear. Some devotees, I saw a conversation with him. They would like to produce all the newsletters the BBT put out, and the Sankirtan letters, when Prabhupada was here, they'd send out the Sankirtan letters, put that into a book. That's like a historical document. I'm sure they have. One thing about Rameshwar, and maybe others, of course, he did have a lot of association with Prabhupada, a lot of correspondence. He has copies of all his letters that he wrote. When he wrote a letter to Prabhupada, he had a copy, a carbon copy. And so then I don't know how long he went to the archives. It's been a while, about 5, maybe 10 years ago, to do research for his book, and he'd get all the copies of these other letters. So that's a book that's coming out. Prabhupada's Sanskrit secretary, Prajuma, had an immense amount of, it'd be nice if he would write a book. So there's we have so much now, there's so much nectar, Giriraj Swami, Mukunda Swami, and so many, Kurma's book about Australia. There's just, there's no way I can list them all, but there's, similarly, there's these books here that are available about Chaitanya Charitamrita, Chaitanya's pastimes. And we just talked about one, Govinda book, that real small book. It's just his account, his pastime with Lord Chaitanya. Okay, 206. Anybody have any comments or questions? Anything? Okay, so from the house of Srivas Thakur, the Lord went to the house of Shivananda Sain, and then to the house of Vasudev Dutt. The Lord remained some time in the house of Vidya Fikaspati, but then, because it was too crowded, he went to Kulia. Purport. The house of Vidya Fikaspati was located in Vijayanagara, which was near Koladweep or Kulia. It was here that Devananda Pandit was residing. This information is found in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kanda, chapter 21. And the Chaitanya Chandogya Nataka, the following statement is given about Kulia. Tata Kurmarahate Srivasa Pandit Bhatjam Abhyayayao. From there, the Lord went to the house of Srivas Pandit in Kumarhat. Tato Daita Vitam Abhyeta Haridas Sena Vivan Ditas Tataiva Taranai Vartmana Navadvit Pasya Pare Kulyanam Grame Majadasya Vatjam Urtir Navam Evam Sata Dinani Tata Taha Stitva Punas Tata Vartmana Eva Chalitavan. From the house of Srivas Acharya, the Lord went to the house of Advaita Acharya, where he was offered obeisances by Haridas Thakur. The Lord then took the boat to the other side of Navadvip to a place called Kulia, where he stayed 7 days at the house of Madhavadas. He then proceeded along the banks of the Ganges. And the Chaitanya Charita Madhya Kavi, it is stated that Anye Duha Sa Shri Navadvip Bhume Pare Gangam Paschime Kavpidese Srimad Sarva Purninam Tatat Angir Netranadam Samyag Agatye Tene. The Lord went to the western side of the Ganges at Navadvip, and everyone was pleased to see him coming. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Anchakanda, chapter 3, it is stated, Sarva Parisada Sange Shri Gaurasundar Achambite Asi Uttarila Tanragara the Lord suddenly came to Vijayanagara with a full party and stayed there in the house of Vijayavikaspati. Navapati Sarva Dike Hali Devani. Thus throughout Navadvip the Lord arrived, and the Lord's arrival was made known. Vikaspati Garhi Ali Aila Nayasi Chundami. Thus the chief of all sannyasis, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, arrived in the house of Vijayavikaspati as further stated. All right. I think we'll skip this. Sanskrit and just go, or Bengali, and go right to. When Sri Chaitanya, there's a whole bunch. I'm just going to tear it all apart, but go right to the translation. About 15 of them. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed at Vijayavikaspati's house, many hundreds of thousands of people went to see him and chant the holy name of Hari. It was so crowded that people could not even find a place to walk. Therefore, they made room by clearing out the jungles near the village. Many roads were automatically excavated. And many people also came by boat to see the Lord. So many came that it was difficult for the boatmen to get them across the river. When Vijayavikaspati suddenly arrived, he made arrangements for many boats to receive these people. But the people would not wait for the boats. Somehow or other, they crossed the river and hurried towards the house of Vijayavikaspati. Due to this great crowd, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu secretly went to Kulia Narga. After the Lord left Vijayanagara, however, all the people heard news of his leaving. They then accompanied Vikaspati to Kulia Narga. Since the news of the Lord's arrival was immediately broadcast, large crowds arrived and greeted Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with great jubilation. Indeed, when the crowd went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it increased 10,000 times in number. No one could say how many people crossed the river to see him, but many hundreds of thousands made a great tumult when crossing the river Ganges. After crossing the river, everyone began to embrace one another because they heard the good news of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's arrival. Thus, all the inhabitants of Kulia, the sinful, intermediate, and spiritual advanced, were delivered and glorified by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I mean, this Navadvip is where, this area is where Lord Chaitanya grew up. I mean, his reputation was, already well established. And then, as we know, that some of his most close associates would go to Jagannath Puri every year and see him. So him coming back was, the news would spread very quickly, and we just heard the reaction. So continuing. As stated in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Anchikanda chapter 6, Kana yoda vada gachi ara do gachya Gangara opara kandu yayena kuliya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed through Kana yoda, Badagachi, and Doga Chia, and then crossed the Ganges before arriving in Kulia. As stated in the Chaitanya Mangala, Ganga Sanara Hari Prabhu Radha Desadiya, Krame Krame Utarila Nargara Kulia, Mayera Vanchane Puna, Gela Navadvipa, Varo Kona Gata, Nija Vidara Samipa. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu walked through Radhadesh and gradually arrived at the Ganges. After bathing in the river, he crossed it and went to Kulia, because he had promised his mother he would return to Navadvip. He went to Varakona Ghat, a village near his house. In the commentary by Premadas, it is said, Nadiyara Maj ha kane saka lokiti. Jani kulia pahadadpura name stana. Okay. Everyone knows that in the middle of Nadia is a village named Kulia Apura. Shri Narhari Chakravarti or Ganesh Yamas has written in his Bhakti Ratnakara. All right, so that's the end of 207. Thank you. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Samasitam Buddha Sundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Dipan Kayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Govindam.
Namaho Vishnu Pujaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Samaniti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gurmani Bhaja Nagini Sesha Shunyavati Bashachade Satarane Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaurata Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaurata Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasati Gaurata Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Ore Ore. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Bhava Mahagavami Nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Prabhinam Pranamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishi Tavakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namanadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vapada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintaya Nayanam Galashu Daraya Varanam Gad Gadrudaya Gira
Pulakarnishitam vapukada tava namagrahane bhavishyati yugayatam namishena chakshusha pravashayatam shunayatam jagat sarvam govindam virahena me ashlishyava padamritam panastu mam adarshanam marmahata karotuva Yatatava vidadatulam patomat prananatastu sevanapara. Victory to Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up? And when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? Oh, Govinda, feeling your separation, I'm considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna is my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he's always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shastastra Ki Jai. Just a real quick report on our Harinam last night. It didn't rain, so we were lucky, and it was a smaller crowd because a lot of the outdoor things were. So, but we met two nice families came by. One a Hispanic family, the other like a normal family, and locals. And they took books and gave donations, listened to the Harinam. So that was nice. And Rudrani got a chance to preach in Spanish, and so it was good. It turned out very well, all things considered.